Season 17 introduced the Smugglers League. But what if the loot they were moving wasn't random at all? What if Rare has been quietly showing us how the Dark Brethren are preparing for war? When I say Rare is hiding something, I don't mean secrecy, I mean environmental storytelling in plain sight. In my last video, I covered the full story of the Dark Ancients introduced way back in 2022. In that video, I cover how the Smugglers League fits into the current story in the Sea of Thieves, and how their choices have forever impacted the future of the seas we call home. The Smugglers were originally from the world outside of the Sea of Thieves, but one fateful day they entered the Devil's Shroud after being pursued by the Grand Maritime Union for carrying illegal contraband aboard their ships. Their ships were ripped to pieces, and those who survived drifted into the Sea of Thieves on their wrecked and sinking ships. These individuals include Seacloak Solomon, Lowtide Lottie, Bloodwake Kadir, Little Lord Leander, Starbright Ix, Wily Wei Lin, Saltbones Elias, and Laughing Fox Lucia. They are currently spread all across the Sea of Thieves on different large islands. Sometime before Season 17 launched, they were hired by Duke, who represents the Dark Brethren, a group of pirates with shared sorrowful experiences in their lives as pirates, who have sworn to destroy the pirate life and seek full control over the Sea of Thieves. Duke hired them to smuggle the illegal contraband that made its way into the Sea of Thieves, as well as some mysterious artifacts that have slipped through holes and tears between the Sea of Thieves and the Sea of the Damned. This loot includes the Black Powder Barrel, an assortment of rums, a variety of paintings, Smuggler's Ship Chronicles, Skull of Siren Sorrow, Horn of Fair Winds, Obsidian Ashen Wind Skull, the Skull of Arms, and the Ancient Rune Tablets from Season 18. Today I'm going to be breaking down the true purpose for each of these treasures and how they impact the future of the Sea of Thieves. From this point on, some theories are speculative, but they are grounded in in-game evidence. Everyone who has played Sea of Thieves recently knows exactly what these are, and the devastating damage they can cause when used incorrectly. We learn in Season 18 Act 1 that the Dark Brethren wanted these black powder barrels to unearth the 3 sanctuaries of the banished that can be found across the Devil's Roar, at Cinder Islet, Flame's End, and Brimstone Rock. This is evidenced by the remains of the black powder barrels we find scattered around each sanctuary entrance. And given that these barrels can be found inside weapons caches at Reaper fortresses, it is highly possible that the Dark Brethren may want to use these as devastating weapons in the conflicts to come. Season 17 introduced us to 3 new types of rum crates that can be found through different methods. Smuggler's Route Run Voyages give us the Dark Demise rum. The Golden Greed rum can be found with Smuggler Bottle Quests, Smuggler Shipwrecks, and Smuggler's Caches. The Floral Fate rum is probably the hardest to find due to its spawning only in Smuggler's Caches or in Smuggler's Shipwrecks. Not a lot is known about these rums, but I do have a theory about what the Dark Brethren could potentially use them for. One thing I noticed while making my last video is that the 3 different rums are very similar to the 3 main variants of skeletons we get during different voyages. These being the Shadow, Golden, and Plant skeletons. The Shadow skeletons would line up with the Dark Demise rum, the Golden skeletons would line up with the Golden Greed rum, and the Plant skeletons would line up with the Floral Fate rum. You might be able to guess where I'm leading with this. What if Duke and the Dark Brethren are collecting these hordes of rum to build an army of skeletons to fight for them? They would give these skeletons different rums to drink to transform them into Shadow, Golden, and Plant skeletons, therefore strengthening their forces. Please keep in mind that this is all speculation and nothing is confirmed at this stage. Who knows, maybe the Dark Brethren just have a drinking problem. I've discussed the true purpose of these paintings twice now on this channel, but I think it's important to discuss it here anyway. The classic, refined, exquisite, and collector's paintings were being smuggled for the Dark Brethren in hopes of finding the hidden clues left behind on some paintings that Flameheart and his followers had hidden in them. These clues would lead to the locations of the sanctuaries of the banished. However, the clues could only be found on the collector's paintings that Flameheart had stashed away inside Royal Crest Fortress. The Dark Brethren were able to get their hands on these paintings after hiring the newest member of the Smugglers League, Captain Jim Swan, to sneak into the Royal Crest Fortress and secure the collector's painting for them. After collecting enough of these paintings, the Dark Brethren were able to locate and find the hidden sanctuaries of the banished. This is a pretty easy one. The Smuggler's Chronicles are the captain's logs that were aboard the 4 smuggler ships that sunk while crossing the Devil's Shroud. These were the Chronicles of the Gilded Fox, Chronicles of the Shadow Current, Chronicles of the Wolf in Winter, and Chronicles of the Sapphire Steel. They came to good use when we were able to meet Duke at the end of Act 3 of Season 17. We were able to place down the fabled 4 painting on this wall. There was also room for the model ships, however, there was a certain pattern to place them down. This is where the Chronicles would come in handy. Each chronicle describes a different location in the Sea of Thieves, and we had to place the model ship on the map where it fits best. Once these were placed correctly, the locked door would open, and we were able to go speak with Duke. The Skull of Siren Sorrow is especially interesting because we know almost nothing about it. We only know that it is one of the mysterious artifacts that made its way into the Sea of Thieves through a rift between the Sea of Thieves and the Sea of the Damned, and that it is an uncursed version of the Skull of Siren Song. Given that the Siren Queen was a member of the Dark Brethren, she could be a potential reason for their interest in these Skulls of Siren Sorrow. Maybe she survived the underwater rockfall that occurred during the Who Killed DeMarco mystery and is still a member of the Dark Brethren. However, we learned in the Smuggler's Heist that the Sunken Kingdom have their own ulterior motives for the locations of the sanctuaries of the Banished. That is yet to be revealed, and it is uncertain whether this has anything to do with the Skulls of Siren Sorrow. It is possible that the Dark Brethren seek to learn more about the Sunken Kingdom through the memories within these skulls, or perhaps to create an army of resurrected sirens. And once these sirens are resurrected, who knows, maybe the Dark Brethren will feed the special Dark Demise, Floral Fate, and Golden Greed rums to them to create a new, unique siren enemies for their army. As much as I love the siren resurrection theory, I do think that the simplest and most likely answer is that the Dark Brethren want these skulls for what they are: weapons. These skulls deal an amazing amount of damage when used well, and it is highly possible that the Dark Brethren want these as weapons for their army. Surprisingly, the Dark Brethren are also interested in collecting Obsidian Ash and Wind Skulls. The two main trains of thought surrounding their interest are that the Dark Brethren wants to extract thoughts and memories from these skulls to spy on Flameheart's plans, or to use them as fire-based weapons for their army. The Skull of Arms are used to unlock weapons caches at Reaper Fortress world events. I believe that the Dark Brethren could be collecting these to unlock more weapon caches across the Sea of Thieves, to smuggle more and more weapons for their armory. I believe it is inevitable that the Dark Brethren is preparing for war, and I think it's smart on their behalf to stock up on all of this weaponry. This is a small one, but I personally believe that the Dark Brethren would be interested in these purely because they are ancient weapons and tools used for traveling and defense. These tablets are marked with the symbol of the Dark Widow and multiple ciphers. In Act 2 of Season 18 we learned the true purpose of these tablets. Sometime between Act 1 and 2 of Season 18, Belle managed to decipher the ancient rune tablets and found a hidden temple inside of Molten Sands Fortress. This temple was excavated, and the Orb of the Banished was discovered. Meanwhile, at the Smugglers League, Starbright X is still busy studying the banished ancient rune tablets, and the other trading companies are getting ahead of them. In Act 2, each trading company wants to get their hands on the Orb of the Banished so they can gain control of the Dark Ancients. It is currently unknown what the true purpose of the Orbs of the Banished is, and if the Smugglers League will be able to catch up with the progress that Belle is making on discovering the secrets of the Banished Ancients. Only time will tell. I am extremely passionate about the lore of this game, and that is one of the reasons why I loved Season 17 so much. I didn't mind the repetition of collecting the smuggler loot, because we learned so much about the modern story of this game during Season 17. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand why this season wasn't for everyone. There were some things I didn't like at all about this season. I'm looking at you, Smuggler Bottle. With all that said, we cannot deny that Rare is leading this story somewhere insane, and I think it's pretty clear by now that everything they are adding to this game is intentional. That's what led me to try and figure out the true purpose of the smuggler's loot in the first place. Even if some of my theories don't turn out to be true, I can't deny that there are definitely some connections there. Let me know if there are any other connections you guys have made with the smuggler's loot. I'd love to hear it. But that's all for now. Before you leave though, I would greatly appreciate it if you could consider liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that little notification bell because it helps my channel out a lot. And as always, fair winds and smooth sailing to all of you. Farewell, mateys.